Hello everyone, this is part 28 of What If Naruto was exiled after he brought Sasuke back, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Naruto sighed as he entered the hospital the next day. Hinata was with Tsunade in her office, neither woman being able to relax. Naruto made his way to where he found Mikahamaru stretched out. His wounds were healing slowly, which concerned Naruto at first until he learned about all his brother had done batting the Tomb Guardian. He's lost and given up so much. Please Kami, don't take more from him, he thought as he pulled up a chair. Hey bro, Naruto said, his voice low. Orochimaru and Sasuke got away. Konoha lost a lot of ninja, even the Suna nin we brought. He noticed the scales on his brother's arm and torso seemed dim. It was the first time that had ever happened since they had sprouted. He noticed that they had progressed across his chest. Man, what more can go wrong? You shouldn't ask that, a voice said with a hint of laughter. Naruto spun around, the room vanished, leaving him in a sea of nothing but white clouds. Two figures were there. Q, he asked, and he noticed the QB was in his fox form and the size of one of the Inuzuka Mount hounds. Hey Kit, you look like crap, QB said. You're alive. Naruto lunged and hugged the large fox, who allowed it for a bit. Gah, let go. I am the great QB no Kitsune and I won't be treated like a squeeze toy. A woman's laugh drew Naruto's attention, reminding him that they weren't alone. Naruto looked at the woman. She was wearing a jade kimono, her long green hair was in an elaborate braid. She didn't look older than Naruto. Who the hell are you? He asked, only to get smacked across the back of the head by one of QB's tails. Show respect, brat, QB said, then bowed to the woman. Forgive him, milady, I never got to cover protocol with him. What the hell? Naruto asked, and QB smacked him again. Stop hitting me, you oversized duster. Show respect and manners. Kami, why are you being difficult? QB growled. The woman smiled. It is my nature. Naruto froze and looked at her, then swallowed. Oh, crap, he said before dropping to his knees seconds after the realization hit him, his head bowed. Forgive me, Lady Kami, he looked at QB, who was laughing at him, and Naruto wondered if he could pound his former teacher/friend in front of the almighty creator. Scratch that. She knows what I'm thinking, and she's laughing. Be at peace, my child. We have much to discuss and corrections to make. Much has been done in my name and hidden while I was elsewhere, Kami said, giving Naruto a patient and loving look. QB snorted. Stuck in an alternate reality in an unconscious body playing skee-ball. Good excuse. Kami shook her head. Even gods like to play games, Kami said as she formed a pair of chairs out of the clouds and motioned for Naruto to sit. QB pouted, having to sit on the cloud floor. I mean. Kami laughed. Ask what you want, Naruto. I'll answer what I can in forms that will make it easy for you to understand. QB smirked, then scowled as Naruto's own tail smacked his nose. Hey, that stings. Now you know how it feels, Naruto said. His eyes turned back to Kami. Why? She sighed. Care to specify? I can read minds, but I prefer to hear you say it. Alright, fine. Why did you let the demon lords loose on my world? Why did you allow children to be TD and abused and have demons sealed into them? Why did we all suffer? Why do people like Orochimaru and Sasuke get away and good people like my parents, Nami, Oji-san and so many others, many of them painfully? My whole life, Micah's life. How can you sit there looking so caring when emissaries of your court have helped the forces of evil? Where was the help for us? Every time we succeeded, one of your court would show up and screw us over. Micah keeps losing everything, and now he's in a coma and he's looking worse than he did yesterday. Why? Kami hugged him as Naruto cried. Negligence on my part, I'm afraid, is the cause of so many things that have happened. I, like so many in power, dictated and allowed others power in my name. Kami looked off to the distance, her eyes unfocused. None of what's happened was meant to You and Micah were never to go to the Undervis, you were never to be involved in the politics there, and your friend was never to mate with someone from there, nor was he to be what he is. Forces beyond your world's understanding were playing with events to solidify their own powers. QB snorted. We're just lucky that girl was bright enough to wake you. Yeah, Bethany is a special child. Kami said with a smile. But that's not here nor there. Kami sighed. Those that have been involved have been punished, now I need to fix things here. Naruto felt his stomach clench. What does that mean? Kami looked at him sadly. Means she's about to push the cosmic reset button and everything we have fought and suffered for will be like a midsummer night's dream. QB said looking sad. Wah. But, then Hinata and I won't. Naruto looked panicked. No, I just found her, I'm happy and you're going to take it away from me, just like everything else in my life. Naruto was on his feet before the goddess. You're supposed to be a kind and caring deity, yet under your care all I've known is pain, suffering and loss. Anytime I've seen kindness, it's snatched away. And now, when I and Hinata finally have a chance, you're telling me that you're going to erase it all. What kind of goddess are you? If this is Kami's kindness, I'd really hate to see your spleen. Kit. Kami was on her feet, the white became black, angry storm clouds and lightning flashed around them. You dare challenge my word? Yeah, I do. Naruto said, his eyes narrowing at the deity before him. You've done nothing to earn my respect. All you do is take. So what if you created the world? Look at the suffering. Now you waltz in and say whoops, oh well, click reset. It'll happen again. Kami narrowed her own eyes. Like hell it will. She took several deep breaths. Go back, be with your Hinata. We'll talk more after we've both calmed down. I'm too wired after dealing with beings I've trusted for millennia, and you're in too much pain with everything. See you again soon, Kit. QB said as the two beings vanished and Naruto was once more at his brother's bedside. Blinking his eyes he looked at Micah. Bro, I swear, our life gets more and more fed up with each passing moment. He stood and headed for the door. He had to check on Hinata. No, I need to see Hinata-chan. He thought as he headed for the tower. XX. Later that afternoon, the couple was sitting atop the Hokage monument. Naruto had his arms wrapped around her while she sat on his lap. Naruto had his face buried in her en. What's wrong? Hinata asked. She'd been worried ever since he'd shown up in the Hokage's office looking panicked. He'd sat there silently watching her work. Sunid, finally disturbed by his silence, kicked them both out and told Hinata not to come back for another day. Nothing. Naruto said into her en. She felt his breath on her en and she closed her eyes at the feelings running through her. I thought we'd never lie to each other, she said, then felt him sigh into her en. I had a bad dream, visitation while I was checking on Micah. He said softly. It scared me. Hinata pulled back and looked into his eyes. What happened? Kami, he said, his eyes looking at her. At first she thought he was just saying the name while he organized his thoughts, but then something in her stirred. A memory from the spirit of vengeance she bonded with. She wouldn't. Hinata muttered. Naruto looked at her. Then remembering a discussion about her bonding to the spirit he sighed and nodded. She plans on doing a cosmic reset. I kind of yelled at her. Hinata gasped and pulled him into a tight hug, then she gave a laugh. Only you would tell our creator off and get away with it. Naruto blushed a bit. She's going to talk with me again after we've both calmed down. I got mad, I just found you, and, if she does this, I'll lose you. Hinata covered his mouth with her own. When they finally came up for air she looked at him. In this life or the next, I will always find you, Naruto-kun. Her hand stroked his cheek, then kissed him again. If we are to be separated, I want one time with you, my love. She said softly, her lavender eyes meeting his blue ones. I want to know your touch, I want to be loved by you. She said, kissing him again. Naruto leaned his forehead against hers and sighed when they again came up for air. I don't know what I've done to be loved by you, Hinata-chan. You are Naruto, my heart and soul. She stood and took his hand. Let's go home, she said, and they vanished with a flame shushan. Kind of rude to enter someone's bedroom, he said. Naruto, Hinata admonished. It's time, Kami said. Just like that, Naruto growled. You wipe out everything and start us all over again. he said, his blue eyes locking on the creator. It's not a decision made lightly, Naruto. But there are influences that need to be removed. Vunla is not meant for this world. The dragon were never meant to manifest, Micah was to be your brother and the two of you were to bring peace, the wholesale S of all those nin should not have happened. Itindigan never should have set foot out of the tombs. Your sensei, Kakashi was not to S at the Uchiha's hands. Nami Ashi was not meant to meet Micah and form a bond, nor influence Ino Yamanaka. Naruto looked at the creator of all and saw not an omnipotent being, but a tired woman who was cleaning up someone's mess. Kami-sama, Hinata squeaked. Yes dear. The green-haired being asked. Will Naruto and I. You won't remember any of this, but I can promise you that the two of you will be together, and this time, you have my word that your lives will connect sooner. Kami sighed. I'll do it at dawn. She said standing up. For what it's worth, Naruto, I am sorry everything went down like it did. You're a good kid, and you could have been a true power, but it's not your destiny to rule the Underverse, and that's where this path was heading. You and Micah would have gone, saved it, ruled it, and then the two of you would have had a falling out, declared war, and in the end it would be a barren wasteland. Naruto looked shocked. Take care, and no, I won't let it turn out bad this time. My attention is now focused and there will not be a repeat. She was gone. Kyuubi looked at the pair. So, is she as flexible as I think? The pillow slammed into the Nine-Tails' face and he shimmered away, his laughter ringing even as the room reappeared. The pair were silent. Hinata turned and straddled him once more. Make love to me till morning, she asked, her voice soft, her eyes pleading. Naruto knew that feeling. He kissed her, pouring everything he was into his touch, his kisses. Their passion showed no bounds as they made love for 6 hours. Despite exhaustion, they kept going, neither wanting to part. XX. The sun rose over Konohagakure. Atop the Hokage monument, Kami stood looking down over the now slumbering village. At her side stood the Kyuubi. I wish this was easy, that it was right, but it's a fix towards a situation that was not meant to happen. They'll be okay. I've seen it, humans are a hardy lot. Kyuubi said. You'll be reset as well. Kami said. I know. Kyuubi said, his deep voice rumbling. I'll miss Takesis, but the kit will need me. You became a big softy. Kami teased. Whatever. Don't you have a mortal to pretend to be in an alternate timeline? Alanis something or other. I will in a moment. Just enjoying the sunrise. A tear came to her eyes and she clapped her hands. An emerald wave rolled out and engulfed the world. And thus, the reset begins. Be well, my friend. Kyuubi was fading and he chuckled. Don't forget, take a bodyguard when playing your skee ball next time. And he was gone. Kami looked upon Konoha. It was peaceful and whole, but she knew that in just around 9 months it would be attacked by Kyuubi, and the tale would begin again. This time it will be better, she said and shimmered away. XX. I'm going to be a daddy. Minato Namikaze's voice was shouted from the top of the Hokage tower. Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze smiled as she looked at Rin and Kakashi while Obito was jumping up and down with his sensei. Think I should tell him it's twins? She asked Rin. The dark-haired Inuzuka chuckled. Nah, keep it quiet, I've got a camera and I want to see his face when you give birth to 2. Kakashi shook his head at his sensei's and team's antics, but behind his mask he was smiling at the thought of someday teaching his sensei's son or daughter. On some level of existence, beings watched the reset world and many of them smiled. To be continued. I'm going to be a daddy. Minato Namikaze's voice was shouted from the top of the Hokage tower. Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze smiled as she looked at Rin and Kakashi while Obito was jumping up and down with his sensei. Think I should tell him it's twins? She asked Rin. The dark-haired Inuzuka chuckled. Nah, keep it quiet, I've got a camera and I want to see his face when you give birth to 2. Kakashi shook his head at his sensei's and team's antics, but behind his mask he was smiling at the thought of someday teaching his sensei's son or daughter. On some level of existence, beings watched the reset world and many of them smiled. And now, Minato, it's time. Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze said as she gripped her husband's arm. Now, sweetheart, we've got a demon that's as tall as the Hokage monument at the gate, and you're going into labor now. Minato Namikaze, the 4th Hokage of Konoha, looked at his wife in disbelief. Yes now, she snarled as a contraction hit her. Everyone in the room could hear the breaking of the bones in the 4th Hokage's arm as his wife squeezed hard. R-I-I-I-I-I-I-N. The Hokage squealed and the dark-haired girl rushed forward and healed his arm, the green glow indicating the chakra used. Weak sensei, she teased. Weak, he whined, rubbing his abused appendage. She's super strong to begin with, and now she's like. Kakashi, leaning against the wall, shook his head. We could send her out to deal with the Kyuubi. 3 looks promised him pain for that comment. Go. Kushina hissed and Minato grabbed Kakashi and they were gone in a yellow flash. Kushina leaned back as the contraction passed. Men are such weaklings, she teased as Rin checked her over. Are you sure you don't want to go to the hospital, milady? Rin asked. No, with all the injured coming in, it would be chaotic. You can do this, Rin, Minato, and I believe in you. Kushina said with a smile at one of her husband's former students. The Inuzuka girl nodded as she checked the supplies they'd gotten from the hospital months ago when Kushina decided she wanted to give birth at home instead of Konoha General Hospital. Kushina winced at another contraction. Shush. It's okay, little ones. Soon you'll be able to kick the big demon's butt as well. She said, stroking her belly. Looking at Rin, who shook her head at that, Kushina laughed. What do you expect? They'll take after me and Minato. Which means they'll charge in feet first, be loud, obnoxious and flashy. A voice said from the doorway. Soonad. Rin and the in-labor mother said, seeing the blonde. What are you doing back in Konoha? Kushina asked, wincing at another contraction. The pervert said you were nearly due, and, she looked at Kushina, I wanted to be here for you. She said. Then over her shoulder, Shizune, get in here. She looked and smiled, nearly dilated. Why aren't you at the hospital? She wanted to do it here. Rin said, seeing her friend and sensei's wife wince at another contraction. How did you get here? The younger girl asked as Shizune rushed in. We got in just ahead of the Kyuubi. Shizune said as she got her master some scrubs. Jiraiya is with Minato and sensei. Tsunade said. I don't envy them, the fox is cutting through Anbu like scissors through paper dolls. Kushina winced at another contraction and once it passed she put a hand on her belly. Easy boys, she muttered and looked at Shizune. They seem eager to see the world. XX. Hold the line. Damn it, hold. Minato yelled as all the attacks by Anbu didn't seem to be nothing more than mosquito bites to the giant 9-tailed fox. Why is it attacking? What set it off? Minato muttered. He knew the Kyuubi was to be a guardian of the land, but now it seemed enraged beyond reason. Guy, he called. The bowl-hair-styled Chunin knelt before the Yondaime Hokage. What caused this? The bushy-browed ninja looked up. The Kyuubi was seen coming from the east, the 10th and 13th patrols. The Uchiha. Minato muttered. Well, they claim that the Kyuubi attacked without warning. It's bigger than the monument. Minato muttered over Guy's report. 6th Squad's report is that the Kyuubi was attacked by the 10th Squad first, which provoked it. Idiots. The whole damned clan. Minato muttered. Get me Kakashi, he said, and Guy was gone. Turning, he saw Sasuke Sarutobi, the former Hokage, in his battle armor. Aren't you supposed to be, I don't know, reading L and oogling girls? He asked his predecessor with a grin. Bah, hard to focus on the books with all the screaming, and the hot women are either here fighting, or in the shelters. The third said. Minato laughed. Aren't you supposed to be with your wife? Sarutobi asked, his old eyes weighing in the battle at the wall. I think fighting the Kyuubi is safer than being in the same room with Kushina while she's in labor. Sasuke Sarutobi laughed. Ah, this is the first time, my boy, just think it gets easier the second time around. Minato blinked. More. She's having twins now, old man. The former Hokage laughed. The roar of the Kyuubi told them someone had gotten a good hit in, enough to piss it off more as one of its tails slammed into a building, destroying it. I'm glad we managed to evacuate the civilians, Minato said. Sarutobi nodded. The thought of the death toll would have been ugly. Where's my student? He asked. Minato smirked. He's with the 3rd and 29th squads, Minato said, gesturing to an area near the Kyuubi's back leg. He used that swamp of his to keep it from getting any closer. Sarutobi nodded. If we could calm it down. Tried that. Nothing works, and I've ordered Anbu to stop trying to calm it down and instead bring it down, Minato said with a tired sigh. When this is over, if there are any Uchiha alive, remind me to have them hauled up on charges. Minato explained to Sarutobi what had happened and Guy's report. When he was done, the former Hokage looked grim. Add in that Danzo and his private forces are nowhere near here. The whole thing stinks, Minato muttered. Sensei. Minato turned to see a slightly singed Kakashi and Guy land. Kakashi, I need you to go to the office and get the scroll. Minato said. He looked at the Kyuubi which while trapped by the swamp was still causing major damage with the tails. Sensei. Sarutobi, I need you to remain in command here, I need to get something. Minato turned and found a hand on his shoulder. Sensei, you can't be thinking of that jutsu. We might not have a choice. Minato said to Kakashi. The silver-haired Chunin looked at his former teacher, his lone eye was wide. Let me take your place then. The cost. Just get the scroll Kakashi. Meet me back here. Minato said and he was gone in a yellow flash. Kakashi lowered his head, his lone eye was closed in pain at what his teacher and friend was thinking of doing. We just talked about that stupid jutsu 2 weeks ago. He can't. Kakashi shushed away while Guy and Sarutobi were distracted by the battle. XX. Come on Kushina, dot and push. Tsunade said and Kushina in paid did. Rin was holding her friend's hand and using a cold rag to wipe the redhead's brow. Shizune moved about getting things ready for the birth. Rin was glad that the Sannin and her apprentice was there, she wasn't so sure her meager SKS were enough for this. Kushina pushed again and Tsunade smiled. Congratulations, it's a boy. She said and after cutting the cord passed the baby to Shizune to clean off. Not done yet, the slug Sannin said as Kushina was already pushing and nearly a minute later there was a second slap and Tsunade smiled. Another boy. Her and Shizune traded and Tsunade took the eldest and presented him to the tired Kushina. She saw the blonde hair and smiled. Naruto, she said taking the baby. A moment later he was joined by his brother. Makahamaru, Kushina said holding the boys. She was exhausted, but at the same time revitalized. They're beautiful, Rin said. Tsunade cleaned up and was standing on the opposite side. Rin, Tsunade, would you both honor me and my children and be the godmothers? Rin blinked and Tsunade looked surprised. Kushina, the slug Sannin asked. Please. I know Minato was planning on asking Kakashi and Jiraiya, I can't think of anyone better than the two of you. Tsunade looked at the little copper-haired baby and at the blonde and her expression softened. It hurt to be here with the loss of Dan and Nawaki, but looking at the babies she'd just helped deliver, she felt something in her heel, her heart warmed. I'd be honored, she said. Rin agreed as well. Kushina and Minato had taken her in when her clan had kicked her out when she didn't bond with any of the dogs. The door opened and the four women looked to see Minato standing there, his eyes landed on Kushina and the babies she held in each arm against her. His motions were slow. Say hi daddy, Kushina said with a soft tired smile. Minato looked stunned seeing the babies. He knew they'd be here, but still, something in his mind and heart kicked him hard seeing them for the first time. He approached the bed, Rin stepping aside allowed her former teacher to see his wife and children for the first time. They're beautiful, he said, his voice was barely a whisper, his eyes on the babies, and then moved up to meet his wife's eyes. As are you. He kissed her forehead and looked down at his sons, his baby boys and he was cursing himself for what he was about to do. Can I hold them? He asked. Kushina smiled and handed him his eldest. This is Naruto, she said. They had agreed on the name, later Kushina bashed him for informing her the name was from one of Jiraiya's novels. And this is Micah short for Makahamaru, she said handing the copper-haired baby to him. Smile, Rin said and Minato looked up in time to see the camera flash. You look like the time Kushina told you she was pregnant sensei. The girl said with a grin. Minato smiled as he looked at his sons. From the distance he could hear the Kyuubi roar and he wanted nothing more than to stay here, but his village needed him, and it was at times like this he hated when the needs of the many outweighed the needs of the few, in this case his own family. He looked at Kushina. I'm sorry, he said. Sorry. For what? Minato, Kushina asked and watched as he vanished in a yellow flash. Minato, Tsunade and Shizune who were in the next room rushed in to see Kushina distraught, trying to get up, and Rin shocked, staring at where her sensei had just been. XX. Minato stopped atop a rooftop, he looked over his shoulder once, then at the babes in his arms. I want you both to know, I love you more than anything, but how can I ask other to give up their very own children for what I am about to do? His answer came from a pair of mewling sounds. Your mother is never going to forgive me, I just hope you can someday. He continued. Gaki. Minato turned to see a battered-looking Jiraiya come up. Hey Ero-sensei. Minato said with a lopsided grin. Say hi to your godson and his brother. Jiraiya, who moments ago had been showing battle fatigue, seemed re-energized as he looked at the babies his student held. They're so tiny. Jiraiya said. This is your godson, Naruto. Minato said, handing him the blonde baby. Blue eyes looked up and Minato saw his sensei looking softly at the baby. You and Rin are his godparents while Kakashi and Tsunade are Mika's. Jiraiya looked at the copper-haired baby. They are beautiful, my boy. He said softly, then his eyes snapped up. You're not. Minato nodded his head. I have too. Chose someone else's, Jiraiya started. I can't. A newborn is needed. The other children are a month or two old already. Then seal it in me. You are far too old, you would s right away and we'd be facing Kyuubi again instantly. Minato said. Jiraiya looked around wildly as if an idea would leap out of the air at him. Minato, this is the dumbest thing ever. Sealing it in one of your. Actually, I think if I split it between the two. Minato cut him off and Jiraiya looked shocked at that. While it would take maybe 20 years for one to fully absorb the Kyuubi's chakra, if I split it between both, it should be fully absorbed by the time the 10. Jiraiya shook his head. Kushina's going to KU. Minato smiled sadly. I think this will solve that long before Kushina is able to catch up with me. In his arms Mika fussed and he made a shushing sound and kissed the top of his copper-haired son's head. Let me or sensei take your place then. Jiraiya said. Damn it Minato, Konoha will need you after this. Your family will need you. Jiraiya looked at Naruto in his arms and the blue eyes were looking at him. For F's sake Minato, your sons will need you when they get older. Minato took his blonde-haired son from his mentor, a sad smile on his face. Konoha will survive without me, my sons will have you and Kakashi as well as their mother and godmothers. But I must do this. He looked to where the Kyuubi was destroying sections of evacuated buildings with wild tail swipes. Even from here the screams of Anbu were easy to pick up. Sometimes, Minato said softly as he held his sons. The good of the many outweigh the good of the few. Jiraiya hated when his student got philosophical, and he hated it more when he was right. What about the one? What about Kushina? Jiraiya said. She'll be. Don't you think say she'll be fine? Jiraiya snapped. He looked at his former student. She won't be fine after this. Jiraiya spun in place and was pacing. I won't be fine after this. Kami's twisted knickers Minato, don't think that you don't matter. Those people. He pointed towards the shelters. Won't give a damn that you and all these ninja have S to protect them. The council will take advantage. Sarutobi-sensei will be able to handle them. Minato said. And you're wrong old man. Kushina will be fine. She's strong, and you will be too. Minato adjusted the babes in his arms. Summon Bunter for me please. He said after several moments of quiet. Jiraiya looked at him, before biting his thumb and going through the motions. A large puff of smoke and a giant toad stood next to the building they were on. Jiraiya, why have you summoned me? Gamabunta demanded. I asked him to boss. Minato said. Minato, I need a final favor from you. Behind him Jiraiya turned away, tears were not needed, his student need him to be strong. What? Gamabunta asked. I need you to get me and my sons close to the Kyuubi and hold him off until I finish the seals on their bellies. Gamabunta lowered himself to look at the bundles in the fourth Hokage's arms. Tiny, are you sure this is what you want Gaki? The head toad asked. Jiraiya was whispering behind him under his breath, praying for him to change his mind. Yeah, it's the only way to stop the Kyuubi now. Minato said. Gamabunta lowered himself and Minato hopped over to the top of the boss toad's head. Coming Jiraiya. No. I'll see if Sarutobi-sensei needs me somewhere. Good luck kid. He leapt away. Come on Bunter. Hold back until Kakashi gets here. The toad took a leap. The twin boys gave gurgles of joy at the sensation. XX. Minato smiled sadly as the jutsu was finished. Shinigami, a moment to say farewell to my sons. He said softly as he felt the death god's ghostly arms behind him. The pulling sensation paused, and Minato took that as confirmation. Looking down at the baskets that now held his sons, he saw the slight glow from the seals on their stomachs. Some minor physical changes were taking place. He saw Naruto develop whisker marks on his cheeks. Micah he noticed that his eyes became golden, and his copper hair became blood red, with white and black fringing. He also noticed the slight tips to both boys' ears. Different, he thought. My sons, you won't ever get to know me. I am Minato Namikaze, the Yondaime Hokage, and I am your father. Right now, I am S. I have left scrolls and I can bet your mother is very pissed at me. He gave a wheezing cough. You will live here in Konoha, you both will grow and learn where your strength and power are needed most. Minato fussed with his son's hair. Always know that I will be proud of both of you. You have a heritage. Minato coughs and he feels weaker. I wish I could, cough, the people of Konoha can be great, when they wish to be. They just need the will of fire to light their way. You both will grow strong, my sons. I will forever be watching you, in death you will make my strength your own. See my life through your own eyes, as your lives will be seen through mine. He coughed as he felt the Shinigami growing impatient. Be good for your mother, and know I love you both. Minato Namikaze coughed as he felt his soul leave his body. On his knees before his son's baskets, his eyes looked to the sky, a lone star winked. It was fun. He coughed once more. Oh my. And he was S. Kakashi landed near his mentor and tears flowed from his eyes. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.